thanks for watching this film first, and then welcome to this Q&A of Becoming Mona with Sabine, Lubbe, Bakker, and Niels van Koevorden. Did I told it
Yes,
properly?
Alex.
So thank you for being here. Actually, that's the third time you're going to be part of the festival. I think the first one was in 2014, if I'm correct, with Ne me quitte pas. What a masterpiece. And it won the competition, actually. So congratulations again. And then you came the year after as part of the jury. And so now you are here for a feature film, which is Becoming Mona. So maybe the first question would be like, we were all expecting you with the success that you made with Ne me quitte pas. There's numbers that goes with, you've been in so many festivals. So how did you switch to that feature? Was it something natural, or it was just a question of opportunity? How did you land on that project?
To make a long story short, it was a little bit of luck and a little bit of coincidence. We were traveling with Ne me quitte pas, and we were on a festival in New Caledonia.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought this because Becoming Mona is based on a very popular Flemish novel, and we bought the book for our long travel, and we both read it, and we were crying and laughing, and I don't know, it made us both think about our own childhood and certain patterns between our own family dynamics, I think. So we kind of really liked the story, but we never thought of making a feature film, basically. It was not our ambition to make a fiction. But then 6 months after we read this book, the writer of the novel, she wrote a review about Ne me quitte pas in a Belgian newspaper. And there were some little mistakes in this review, factual mistakes. So people started reacting on this on Facebook. And she apologized publicly on Facebook with us tagged in this message. And we just wrote her a personal message saying like, okay, apologies accepted, but we really like your novel. Are you up for a coffee? And are the rights for making a film out of this book still available? So we met her, I think, a week after in a restaurant in Rotterdam, and we had a really nice conversation. And then a few days later, she called us and she said, "It's yours. If you want to have it, you can do it." And we looked at each other and we were like, "Okay, shit. The
Now we
next
have to do
5
it."
years of our life, we'll make a feature film."
So is it the fact that there is like pretty much the background story of everyone that attracted you in the book first? Like everyone can refer to some element of the writing? What was the thing that made you go on board? It was because it was so emotional, or it was like universal as a theme?
I think for us, it was we were just starting to have our own family. I think I was just pregnant when or I didn't even know I was pregnant when we started to read the book. And I mean, we are a couple. We bought a house, so we got into, so we had to form a family as well. And I think we all had we discussed our own family history every now and then. And I think this is a book which describes how important it is to be courageous in life, and how difficult it is to understand your own family relations in a way that you can be yourself and be truly independent. And hopefully you can do this while staying connected to your family, but the difficulties and how it can how it can withhold you sometimes to become who you want to become. And I think this is what attracted us very much about the book, and I think it's what we understood as well. Yeah.
And not only dealing with our own family history, but also dealing with each other's family history. In this case.
So your creating process, if I do remember properly, from Ne me quitte pas, was to have like a sort of immersion, if I can say so, for a very long time, like to live with the people, like to know the neighborhood, the ecosystem, like everything. And there, this is a family, this ecosystem. So did you have to switch totally your way of working, or did you found a way to reproduce this way, to have an immersion into, because something is very impressive. It's it's how natural and how like obvious it is, like those relationships. So how did you build that? What was the creation process behind?
I think well, we didn't know how to make a fiction, so, or drama, so and work with actors and a whole crew. So I think the starting point was very much like, what do we know? Like, how can we create a set that is for us very similar to documentary? How can we create something that we at least know what we are doing? So we started looking for this, and I think the way we shot on set was like we could we with it, this we could create, and we kind of could think ahead beforehand like how to do it. But I think to create this family dynamic with the actors, we did what's it called, a systemic of
A systemic family constellation with a
Okay.
therapist. So we asked the main actors to do a session with us, with our relationship therapist, basically,
yeah.
and ask them as themselves with their own family history to do a constellation about a certain dynamic from their past, which was really awkward for them and for
For
us,
us,
because
very scary.
they all thought they would put on a suit and a mustache and
Glasses.
glasses.
And we play their part, and then we would talk about the psychology behind the part. But we really wanted to find some depth in their acting. So we I don't know, it was a gut feeling. We said like, we have to do this, and then we probably create some system how it works. And it was kind of funny because in this constellation we also found I think everybody for themselves, but we also saw like why we casted a certain person for a certain role. I mean, it's not like one-on-one exactly the same person, but it was, they all understood their part very well for their own personal reasons, which was nice. And I think it also created something. It was such a weird experience, and so deep and so personal. So it was on set, it was, everybody trusted each other very much. So we also said
So
like, go, like go and act and improvise, and there's no, you cannot make any mistakes, like we can, let's try, let's play, let's research, and let's
It's also
yeah.
that we didn't really, of course, we developed the characters with the actors, but we mainly developed the relationships. So a lot of work was on Mona towards the father, Mona towards the stepmother, Mona towards the brother. How does this dynamic work? Not only the character, but how does the dynamic work between characters?
and by proceeding by that, by feeding the narrative through their own background history, you were taking the risk to take a bit of a distance from the book. What distance did you allow? What was from the book, like the distance you took finally? Because I
Yeah, but
think that
we took before that, I think we rewrote the scenario ourselves. And one of the things we did was like the Christmas scenes. It's not part of the book, for instance. We thought like, to make it a film, we need some kind of, we like the three parts. This is really like in the book, but we had to cut a lot of scenes. We had to make it more simple,
For
more,
us, it needs to be more dense in time and space, and the book is more
there are more characters.
wider, more characters, more storylines, more time, passing of time.
But we also wanted to create an ending to every part. And so for us, Christmas was just like the perfect family routine
yeah, totally.
setting, and was something we have discussions about every year, I think. And so we thought like, oh, this is also nice because we have the same house, the same table, and more or less the same people. People come, people go, people are born, people die, and we thought, but the dynamics remain the same. And I think this is something everybody can relate to. Like, there are these points, maybe it's not Christmas for everybody, or I'm sure it's not, but there's this table, this house, this that's, and maybe the house changes, the table changes, it doesn't even really matter. But the if you are together with these same people, you're playing the same role for some strange reason. So, and we thought like these Christmas scenes would be nice, like we'll just have like Christmas a lot.
Talking about the timeline, because you came on the subject, there is some like untold stories between the three chapters. There is those like mid moments, Was it on purpose? Because we can imagine a lot of things. Is it something conscious for you to keep that open to the audience?
Yeah, it's something that was already part of the setup of the book, and which was very clear for us that it stayed this way because of the time that is not told. And I think it was the first question of the producer, like, are we gonna intercut all these times because it's more like a commercial way to tell the story, maybe. But for us, it was very clear that it had to be like, I think a great example for us back then was Moonlight. I think Moonlight
Mhm.
had the same structure with like 3 chapters in life with blacks in between telling part of the story that's not told in the film.
But you can imagine what happened in between. And I think because it's about a very ordinary life. So for us, it was very. It's not like there's no development for Mona that she becomes more and more free or whatever. It's she stays stuck in her own self until the end. And I think the gaps in between say that we all like to think by time everything will get better. You know, it'll become better by some mysterious reason, or it'll just pass, but it doesn't. You know, it just becomes worse, these things. So I think these blacks are very much about this, like it just continues. You know, it's like it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, that's kind of hopeless. Wasn't it scary to work in something where at some moment you like you see that like switch to like a genre movie where she kills everyone and everything, but no, it's not.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty cool.
was it
Yeah.
something that was appealing for you to go in something with? That can be very scary to jump in such a project. First of all, the personage is very introvert.
Yes.
How is it as a director to say that, okay, I'm gonna make a movie and the main character gonna be someone very introvert? What's the challenge behind?
Yeah.
Well, it was super scary
Yeah.
because we called her the gray mouse. I don't know, like it's a saying in Holland. Like somebody that has basically no character, that's not proactive, like
Like if
but
you
we
read
kind
any
of
theory, like you have to have a proactive
yeah, but
main
we kind
character.
of like the anti-hero a lot. Like I think Nimekita Pa was also a lot of anti-heroes. And b-
Well,
basically we also made a big mistake because in the beginning of developing the project we thought that she had to develop, so we started to cast actresses that were stronger than the role that was written on paper, and we started to rewrite the scenario, putting more development inside until I think our writing coach said, like, the strongest point of the character is that it doesn't develop. You just have to dare to tell it this way and make that the strong point of the film. And then it was very clear to us, okay, the thing that happens is she doesn't develop, it's just underwater, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse until she explodes.
and I think like, and we kept casting because we worked with an actress for 2 years. We spent a long time casting, and we liked her very much, and she was very good, but she was also not Mona, and we knew like she's good, and we liked her, and it was so much fun working with her. But we were always keeping our eyes open and seeing, like, because we didn't know, like, is she really fit for the job? We thought like maybe, I don't know. And then we met Tanya, and we instantly knew, like, even on a video casting, we knew like, oh, this is her. Like, she is this person who does not take the lead, but if she can you stay, you want to keep on watching her while she is taking all this shit from all these people. And
She was the only one where you didn't look at all the other egos, but you kept watching her.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, congratulations, by the way, on the cast, because she totally fits to the story, and she's like amazing at like micro expressions and everything. Um, so yeah, what freedom did she had in matter of improvisation on the set? Because you said that there's a lot. Was there some specific scenes that we can remember where it was like very far from what you had in mind, and like the people took the distance, and you were even yourself surprised of the result?
Yeah, I think Wiene, who plays Marie, is an extreme example of how she brought a lot of improvisation. And I think she became so dangerous. This is also what we wanted, but if you write this part down on paper, it's
It's kind
difficult.
of a cliche, this
Yeah,
woman.
you think, oh, she's just a nutcase or something, but she really, I think Vina really made her look dangerous and also believable. I mean, I know a lot of people that watch the film, like from my own friends or family, and they say like, oh, I am a bit like her. I am a bit like Marie. So, and I think that's really good, because on paper you would say like, oh, she's too much.
Yeah, but maybe as a concrete example, in the second part, there is the brother of Mona that tells that his new girlfriend is pregnant, and then Venus slaps Mona in the face. That is like take 4 improvisation. Nobody expected it. I was behind the camera. It's too late to capture the real hit. Like, it was a true moment that happened there. Even I think Wiener, the actress herself, didn't think
Yeah.
about it. It just happened because she was so deeply playing her part.
Yeah.
So we didn't do another take of this moment, because it was just that moment that counted.
It's not, it's, you can do it, try to do it again, but it'll never be the same thing. And I think for Tanya, I think the best example is that the ending scene, we wrote it very much like, and then she will start laughing, she will start crying, and she looks at the world, and then she realizes everything. I'm exaggerating a bit now, but
Horrible
and
for
then
an
she
actress to read
and
in a
then she
script.
frees herself. Like what? Like so, like what? And I really wanted this scene to film it really at the end of the filming period, and we didn't talk about it. We also did. She didn't want to talk about it. We didn't want to talk about it, and we say, well, just we make sure there's enough time. So we had 2 days, or for this we had one full night. So she was also exhausted, and we just said, okay. And we had this thing, like she would know that we would be there, and that she was safe, and that she could do anything, and everything would be okay. But she just had to do it. And she also said, like, in advance, she didn't plan anything. She just said like, I'll just go along with the scene, and our takes are very long, like in a more classical way it's like 2 minutes or something, or less, but we really did like 15 minutes, just like keep on making time, getting into the part, getting the discussion, finding another thing to how they can tease each other. And then this one take, she got up, and that she walked away, and she kisses Marie. And I think like it was very funny, because she was all very anxious about this scene. We were all very anxious about this scene, and she did this, and she walked away. She kisses Marie. She walks away, and I'm left there, and Vina as well, and we were standing there, and we were all crying. And Tanya came back, and she was really like, ah, okay, so how was it? And because she actually, as if she freed herself, as if she really said like, she just said like, yeah, I think I had to say goodbye to her. I really had to say goodbye to her. So um yeah, we tried the other takes, but this was just this was her way of saying goodbye to this family. Yeah.
Talking about this technique, something is very stunning. Is the natural there is on the scene. There is a strong shot that by some elements refers to some dogma kind of things. Did you use like a multicam? How did you capture those like crossed moments between those people in those choirs moments? What was your approach on the set?
The approach was exactly the same as we do with a documentary, and I think we're very well trained in entering a room. There's a scene, and you have one time to capture, and you have only one camera. And because we really like how people relate to each other, also the camera has to make people relate to each other, not only in the edit but on the set. Like, it has to make a movement between people to see where emotions come from and where they go. And that in that way, I think our film is made on the set more than, of course it's made in the edit, but the scenes are definitely made on the set. It are not scenes that are shot and meant to be edited later on to become something else, let's say. So
I think
for
like
me,
the camera is like really dancing with the actors. Like Niels didn't always know, like he's a cameraman, like he doesn't always know what's going to happen. They don't always know what he's going to do. And then they And I think we really made this appointment, but we did it before already when we made documentaries. It's just like, you know, you can capture this moment only once, but it's perfectly normal that you will miss it sometimes. You know, it's just like, this is you have to be okay with this, you know, like sometimes you create something where you think, ah, this is fantastic, but then you miss it because you happen to look the wrong way, and this is also okay. And I think this is really the key of this way of working, you know, like.
And so through all this creating process, were you at the end like close to what you did expect from the origin of the project, or was it something very different? What was the gap between your expectation and the result? Because there's so many of the actors themselves, and so things are happening on the set. So how was the gap between beginning and the end?
I don't think we expected so much.
I don't think there was such a big gap, because I know that for me and Sabine on the set, we have to feel something every scene. Like for us, a scene is good not if it's good in continuity or only in acting, but it really has to hurt or make you laugh, or there has to be one moment for sure that you look at each other and
Like
say, okay, it's there. And then the rest of the takes, it's just dressing this moment.
Yeah, I think we're just really very focused on looking on sincerity. Like even with actors, like it still has to be sincere emotions. Like it has to, I have to relate to it. Like that, when I see it, I cannot not relate to it. I think in this sense, it's also a film. Like if you're not in the mood to relate to it, then it must be horrible. It's very long. I mean, it's like we had people saying like, they wanted to throw things at the screen, or people said like, I wanted to walk away 6 times and I'm so angry, I'm gonna watch it again next week, you know, like so
But in that way, maybe, because
yeah.
I think our films are not made out of plot, like the Nikita Pie is not made out of plot, and this film neither. So the thing we know is that if it touches you on set, it will work one way or the other in the film. Like how it's going to work or if the structure works, that was kind of uncertain, and we really also fought with it in the edit. But I think from the material, we were quite sure we had something good to play with in a way.
Yeah, but I think we did not have, for us, we don't work with this, we don't have an idea in advance, like this is how we want it to be. It's more like it grows.
No.
It grows.
We put all the ingredients together, and then there
we
has to
shake
be
it.
something very exciting on the set. That I think that was the most important thing, basically, that we created something where also we could be surprised every time.
Yeah.
That it was not just we wrote something, we have it in our minds, and we go and get it or something like this.
I think for us it would be kind of boring. I thought in the beginning when we started to doing this started writing on this book or writing the scenario, I think like, but then the shooting will be like really boring, you know, like if you make a documentary, you come home and you have really good stories, you know, like if you're sitting in a bar and you say like, oh my god, we were in this and we were doing, and because it's all real life, so it's fantastic. And I thought like, oh my god, and on a set it's just, yeah, what do you talk about? Yeah, the light was there and then it was there, and you know, it's just like we thought like this is, we all, then you think about everything in advance, like where does it touches you, where does it surprise you, where does it influence you. And I think that's why we try to create a setting that we would not be bored, but this is not, I mean, that we really would find some kind of sincerity, and that it would change us as well a bit, like the way we looked at it. It would enrich us.
That's a perfect conclusion for that. So thank you so much for the time you gave us, and congratulations on the movie again. And we wish you good luck for the competition that goes with. So thank you again for participating.
Thank you.
And thank you for viewing the film. And so if you liked it, please spread the word and invite people to watch it in the rooms or online. Thank you. And we wish you the best for the rest. Thank you.
Thank you.